Alright, y'all. I hope everybody's having a good day, night, wherever you're at. Just good vibes overall, wherever you are in the world. Now, let's get into the topic of this week's video, which is the perk system and the issues it has, and how some are more strong than others, and how it overall needs a rework. Perks are seen in nearly every type of online multiplayer game, from Call of Duty to For Honor, and both of these games have a perk system in place. Albeit For Honors is not as diverse and has way less compared to the sheer number Call of Duty has had over the years, the system is still there in an attempt to make your own build, giving you an advantage over your opponents, or just have a build that fits your playstyle. Now, out of all these perks to choose from, there are those that are going to rise above the others and always be picked compared to the other ones, which can lead to a stagnant meta and seeing the same thing over and over again in matchmaking. For Honor is not shy of this issue, as there are two guilty culprits that have interesting interactions with the systems in place of the game, such as Revenge. Those being Last Stand and Vengeful Barrier. Before we look at what the issue of the system has, let's go back in time to the release of Marching Fire. In For Honor, more importantly Old For Honor, you used to be able to build a system to where you could customize how much damage you would do, revenge gain, revive speed, and much more. Needless to say, it was broken, as if someone had max damage, this would happen.
Send the enemy!
As fun as it was, it needed to be changed, and the developer stripped me of my 120 damage Kanobo for a perk system. After each match, you could earn gear, and on that gear, a symbol would display correlating to the perk along with a number. To get your build, you had to build that bar, and in some cases, you could even have 3 perks. Albeit very difficult and RNG based, it did not take long for best perk builds to show up on YouTube, and guides on what each perk does. However, among all of these perks, there were 2 that quickly found their way to the top of everyone's list: Last Stand and Vengeful Barrier. To understand why these 2 perks made it to the top of the list, we need to look at what they did. Currently, when in critical health, Last Stand kicks in and allows you to gain a 40% damage reduction, which was no laughing matter, as back then your average GB punish was between 30 to 40 damage. One case being Shinobi, who had a massive 40 damage GB punish. Oh yeah, this weeb used to deal 40 damage and take your soul along with it. With everyone's damage so high, Last Stand became a very valuable asset to have, as without it you would be at a huge disadvantage. Not to mention the perk can activate multiple times in one life. Say you go heal and come back to a fight and are put in critical health, Last Stand would activate again, saving you from death. Did you just get GB'd from someone in revenge and thrown to the ground? Well, Last Stand will kick in and you are more likely to survive with that perk compared to the one who did not bring it. Taking reduced damage was always a good thing, as it would allow you to build your revenge meter and allow you to stall, win a 1vx, or survive a gank that would have normally killed you. And speaking of revenge, Vengeful Barrier paired very nice with it. Once you got revenge due to Last Stand saving you, you would have another line of defense called Vengeful Barrier, which upon activation would let you have a 25 health shield upon exiting revenge. This can also activate multiple times, as well it means you could also keep getting that 25 shield, along with Last Stand helping you. Not to mention, a little while later, it was discovered due to a bug. In some cases when exiting revenge, your entire health bar will be converted to shield. This would be even more stronger when it was discovered that Black Prior's Sinister Shield could cause this bug to activate. If a Black Prior was on your team and knew what he was doing, he could not only take your revenge, but also give you a full revenge shield as your health bar. Ever wondered why that JJ would come out of revenge with a full shield and become Uncle Iroh and steroids and nuke the entire Fire Nation? Well, now you know. This leads us to where we are in current day. If you pay attention to your lobby when you load into a game, you will see Last Stand and Vengeful Barrier the most, along with Bastion that pairs even much more well with it. This leads to these 2 perks being the most dominant in the game and leaving other perks in the dust. Now in scrims and tournaments, perks are disabled, so they do not have to be dealt with, as they would give an unfair advantage. However, in matchmaking that is not the case, as perks are enabled. The perk meta is stale, as the same few perks are used over and over. These perks I like to call the Holy Trinity. Each type of class has them, and I say this in heavy quotes as the class system doesn't really matter anymore, but the best perks you want to have are heavy perks, and their holy trinity, in my opinion, is being Last Stand, Vengeful Barrier, and Bastion. Another build you can use is Devour, Endurance, and Fresh Focus, which you could also swap for Headhunter if you desire. And if you want to go a support route, you can even run Rapid Refresh, Feline Agility, and Radiant Rebound. Which, on paper, this seems like a lot of perks that are used, which is true. However, people like to win, and you have a better chance of winning with those heavy perks. This leads to some perks being useless, like Supersonic. Now, a perk like Early Reaper and Crush Them will seem good at first glance, but you can lose that extra damage if someone blocks the attack or if you attack a minion, which can lead to the perk being wasted. Now, how do we fix this and bring these other perks up from the Shadow Realm? Outside of a whole perk system rework, and some adjustments can be made, such as the issue with Crush Them and Early Reaper. Make the extra damage apply only on hit, not on block, not on a minion, but only on hit. Many of these perks need a feature or a buff, such as Survival Instincts. Who even uses that perk, and why would you want to attack and have that stamina reduction when you're in a critical situation? It's a counterintuitive perk and needs a rework. Some of these meta perks need a nerf, such as Last Stand. One nerf could be made to make it activate only once per life, but keep that 40% damage reduction, which would help you only in that one-time scenario, but the next time you go into a situation like that, you will have that in the back of your head that safety net is gone. Vengeful Barrier is also a different issue, as the spaghetti code in the game makes it difficult to fix such a bug. Unless it is somehow made not to work with Sinister Shield, I fear it may need to be removed entirely or given a completely different property. Many online games have a perk system or some form of a perk system, each with their own slew of difficulties to balance, whether you balance it for a competitive or a casual player base. They all have their issues, and it is a very fickle thing, as one tiny tweak here might make it completely busted over here, and so forth, while one nerf over here might make it completely useless over here. It is a very interesting challenge for developers to do this, as the player base is always changing, and so is the meta, as many devs want to spice up their meta and keep things fresh, as many of our human brains don't like things being stagnant. We love attention. We have short attention spans. We like things that go burr and are shiny and new stuff. However, with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Let me know what changes you would make to the perk system down below in the comments. Let me know if you like this type of video, as I am trying to keep a weekly upload schedule. With that in mind, subscribe to become a Seal Baby, and I will see all y'all in the next one.